This is the Making Waves podcast. My name is Dave Ropeman. We're here with Taffy Howard, Senator from District 34, and she's here to talk to us about a controversy that's happening out in Rapid City. Taffy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. And yes, the controversy involves tax increment financing.
Could you tell the listeners, the subscribers, what that means? It's called a TIF.
Yes. Yep, they are called TIFs. So it's a tool that was created in the late 1970s by the legislature to allow, initially it was to assist in like the redevelopment of blighted areas. So let's say you have a downtown block that, there's decrepit old buildings, they need to come down. It's just not conducive to a developer to do anything with it. They're not going to make any money. So a TIF was created to aid in that, and most TIFs only take care of the infrastructure cost. So what a TIF is, you decide that you want to create this financing district. You determine the boundaries of the district, and you look at the land, the assessed value of the land within the TIF district. That becomes your base value. TIFs are usually created for 20 years. Over the life of the TIF, as the land in that district increases in value, everyone in that district continues to pay their normal property taxes, just like they would, as your assessed value goes up. So they would continue to pay that. However, the property tax revenue from anything over the base value, and it's called the increment value, all property taxes on that increment value go to, as they say, pay off the TIF. So they in actuality go back to the developer to reimburse the developer for expenses that he's done according to the project plan of the TIF. And as I said, most TIFs are just for infrastructure. So most TIFs, the developer is going to be reimbursed for, let's say he had to do some road work, he had to do some culverts, they're out here in the hills, sometimes you have far more groundwork, excavate, whatever you want to call it, than you do, say, in Sioux Falls. So it is more expensive sometimes to develop out here than it is in Sioux Falls. So it would go to reimburse the developer for that. That's what the TIFs were initially formed for, and that's the basics of a TIF.
And who issues a TIF? Who issues them? Who authorizes them?
Any taxing district can. So a city, municipality, county, well, the state wouldn't issue a TIF, but those taxing districts can. There's 4 counties, and it's really the major cities in those counties that have the most TIFs across the state: Pennington, Minnehaha, Brown, and Davison. Pennington County, we have the 4th highest in numbers of TIFs, but we have the highest amount in increment value from all of our active TIFs. We have $700 million in increment value of land that is sitting in TIF districts that we're losing out on the property tax revenue from, because that property tax revenue is going to pay back the developer.
Got it. Now, the TIFs that are being proposed right now, they're recently passed?
Right. Rapid City just passed 2 major TIFs, Liberty Land at $125 million and Catalyst at $84 million. What makes Liberty Land really unusual is, 1, the size. It is the largest TIF in the history of the city, of Rapid City, and it is now also the largest TIF in the state. So we're blowing Minnehaha out of the water. Sioux Falls has the next largest at $98 million, but we have this one now at $125 million. So there is a grassroots effort to refer this to a vote to see if the people really do want to have a $125 million TIF for an amusement park or historic theme park, whatever you want to call it. And then there's 360 unit resort village and 300 single-family homes as well, which are not affordable housing. And there are 4 categories of TIFs. You have local, industrial, economic development, and affordable housing. 3 of those TIFs, the industrial, economic development, and housing, 3 of those TIFs, the school district is held harmless. So you have to remember the increment value, the property tax from that, is not coming into the school, city, and county like it normally would. So they hold the schools harmless on 3 of those TIFs. But the way they do that is they spread out that across all state property tax owners. So when the state does a state aid education, they make up for the loss of local effort for that TIF by spreading it out across all taxpayers.
So other people are paying it.
Yep. We are all paying for all the TIFs for the schools.
Okay, so what's the objection to these particular TIFs? Now, you mentioned something about amusement park.
Right. Liberty Land has what we're calling an amusement park or theme park. A lot of people are just objecting to it they just don't want, they think it's an idiotic project for out here. A lot of comments like, what are they going to do for 9 months out of the year, But beyond that, it just goes back to, if the developer wants to do this on their private land, great. They have the option to do that as long as it's zoned appropriately. We shouldn't be giving them $125 million, though, to assist in that. So I want to talk about, so I said most TIFs are just for infrastructure, but there are some TIFs that have discretionary grants in them. And a discretionary grant, that's money that can be reimbursed to the developer for anything short of a residential structure. So in Liberty Land, there's $47 million in discretionary grants, and it says right in the plan, those funds will be used for the development of the commercial and entertainment zone and amenities of the resort village. So literally, the city and the county are losing out on property tax revenue as this district will increase in value and the increment value. We're losing out on that, and that's going back to the developer to pay for amenities at a resort village. I don't think that's what taxpayers want their money going towards.
Just to put this into context, how much is this entire project from Liberty Land going to be costing the developer?
I have not seen that. And that's another issue with Liberty Land, is the application has been very poorly filled out. I mean, on the application, you're supposed to list anyone, any entity that has an interest in the project. They only bother to list the project manager. That's it. And the project manager is on record. Now, he's married to a Lean, and the Lean family is behind this. But he's on record because they asked him, one of the counselors asked him, and he's on record as saying, I'm the project manager, the Lean family is behind this, but there will be other investors. I just can't tell you right now.
Well, it seems to me $125 million is a lot of money, and you can build a whole project based upon that.
It is. To put that in perspective, so Rapid City has currently, with those 2 that just passed, we have 20 active TIFs. There are 3 outliers that are huge. It's Liberty Land, Catalyst, and then Black Hills Industrial Center at $78 million. If you take those 3 out and look at the other 17, the average amount of those is less than $8 million. Less than $8 million. And that's because the vast majority, 15 out of those, all 20, don't have any discretionary funds at all. And outside of Liberty Land, the most of any of them for discretionary funds is $6 million. It's unbelievable, and I do believe our city council, I don't know, dare I say they've lost their collective mind on these. I mean, I hate to say it, but there were 2 city councilors that voted no, but there should have been more.
Now, this is an example of citizen activism, and that's why you're talking to me today. So what exactly are you planning on doing? You mentioned that you're going to be referring this to the ballot. So what is the process, and what are you doing?
Yep. So the clock started ticking the day they published it, which was last Saturday, the 6th. So we have 20 days to collect right around 2,600 signatures, I believe, but we're looking for around 3,100, so we have a nice cushion. We have an army of volunteers. I mean, we have not had a problem recruiting circulators. And these are all unpaid. None of us are being paid for this. Whereas the developer has now hired somebody who is starting to run a campaign a smear campaign. They're actually showing up where we have circulators trying to get signatures and monopolizing their time, trying to squeeze in and convince people not to sign the petition. So it's really appalling. But when you think about it, I mean, it's $125 million of easy money that the developer stands to lose if we can get this on the ballot and convince people to vote no. So of course they're very wealthy developers. They could throw however much they want to at this, trying to convince people not to sign. But I go back to, this is corporate welfare. This is padding the pockets of a wealthy developer at the expense of the average taxpayer.
Just for clarification, you need 2,600 signatures to get this on the ballot, and you're going to get a little bit more for a pad. But what would happen then is this would go onto the ballot, would go onto the next election ballot, and then the voters would decide for this, or would this be a special election? Or in either case,
it would be,
this is not just kill the project. It refers it to the voters.
Right, and it refers the TIF. We can kill the TIF, and they can continue to build their amusement park if they so desire, just without taxpayer funds. So
got it.
Yeah,
and that would be the final word, the people voting.
Right. And so we would have to have a special election. And so, of course, this paid person is, starting to come after us for wanting to have the cost of a special election. But I go, well, gee, I don't know, $50,000 versus $125 million. I think I'll spend the $50,000 and save the $125 million.
Well, that's what the system is for. It's exactly why we have this system. And if you don't want the system, then don't live in a democracy. How can they contact you? Do you have any contact information? Where can people sign this petition?
So we are trying to have people in the admin building and at Fitzgerald Stadium Yard Waste site. Those are the 3 sites we're trying to man as regularly as possible. But of course, we are all volunteers, and people still have families and lives to take care of. They can reach out, private message me, private message Tonchi Weaver or John James. Those we're kind of the 3 that are trying to keep this as organized as possible. But every day we're adding more circulators, and it's going really well, but we can't let up because 3,100 signatures is a lot in 20 days.
It certainly
a lot.
Is. And that is 20 days business days, or is it 20 days total, including weekends and holidays?
Total, including weekends and any holidays, which I don't think we have any between now and then. So
I don't think so either. But that's still it's a long road to hoe. So I'll put some contact information in this post so people can contact you.
I'm gonna leave you with one. I'm not gonna say who said this, but it's probably the foremost expert on TIFs in the state. But because I was talking to him, wanting to make sure that everything that I was saying was accurate. And in the discussion, he said it this way. He said, "But for the TIF, your mill levy would be lower." And people need to understand that. If it weren't for this TIF, as that increment value increases and all that property tax revenue is going to pay off the TIF, if it weren't for the TIF, that increment value, the property tax revenue from that would come into the city and county's coffers and reduce everyone's mill levy. And here's the other thing about Liberty Land. So the county commission out here actually sent a letter to the city council when Catalyst and Liberty Land were working their way through the system. And basically the letter is like, okay, we're concerned about the size and number of TIFs. We're concerned about the lack of transparency and accessibility. And they have not heard back from any city councilor or the mayor. Nobody has bothered to respond to the county. And the county has every right to be concerned. So Rapid City, they create these TIFs. Without even asking the county, they're taking away revenue from the county, from that increment value. The property tax revenue from that increment value that would go to the county, it goes to the developer. But the county has no say in the process.
Seems to me this whole process needs to get a little bit of a closer look.
Oh, it will. Come January, it will.
You promise?
Yes. And it's not just me. There's other legislators that are not conservative Taffy that are also saying we need to look at these TIFs. They're getting out of hand, the cities, and they're just getting out of hand.
That's fair.
Should a city now be financing these projects? Because Rapid City is starting on the application. You have to say if it's developer financed, and that's what most of them always have been. And then Liberty Land says self-financed, which actually goes to another issue with Liberty Land. But lately, the city has gotten into it's city financed. Yeah. I mean, granted, some TIFs are strictly, especially like local TIFs, those are strictly like if you wanted to build a park or whatever. I mean, sometimes the TIF is going to have to be city financed because it is completely city owned. But
understood. Are there any final thoughts?
I don't think so. Just encourage everyone to sign the petition and let the people's voice be heard on this. It's really sad that, the developer is now putting money in this to stop the process.
Taffy, thank you for being with us. This has been the Making Waves podcast. My name is Dave Roteman. We've been here with Taffy Howard, District 34 Senate. Thanks, Taffy.
Thank you.